Hey everybody, Sam Tom here. This is a little bit different, but we're trying some different stuff this year. So a lot of people ask me where I get all my instruments or how can I afford to get so many different instruments, and the answer is I get a lot of them from Goodwill. Goodwill has a website, shopgoodwill.com, and it's pretty much eBay but Goodwill. So there's a couple different ways that I look for stuff on here that I want to go over. But before we get there, can we talk about this? I got no Patreon still. I got nothing. This has been going for 6 months. Nobody. Come on, guys. You can do, I think, as little as $2 a month. If you watch my stuff and I'm not worth $2 a month to you, tell me what I can do. What can I do that will satisfy you enough to get $2 a month? Because there's about 20 people or so that watch almost every one of my videos, which isn't a lot, but 20 people at $2 a month, that's $40 a month. That's enough to buy something from this website, because we're going to look at some stuff today. I'm not planning on buying anything today, but, you know, $40 a month, it doesn't sound like much, but with this website, that can get you some stuff. So let me know. What do I need to do to get $2 a month from you? And, I don't have any tiers or anything. I've only got the one video so far because I don't want to spend a bunch of time on this when no one's here. If more people came, I'd post more stuff. But would this be a crazy idea for a tier? If you sign up at a certain number of dollars a month, I will buy an instrument from this website, feature it in a video, and then send it to you. Would that be something people would be interested in? I have no idea. Let's move on. So the first way to use this, and this is the way that I used to use it, and this is not, I don't think, the best way to use it, but I think it's how a lot of people would use it, and that would be to search for a specific thing. Now you can see here I have apparently recently searched for an accordion, which I believe that's spelled wrong, but that's actually relevant. We'll come back to that. But let's just say that I wanted to buy a violin. There's going to be a ton of violins on here. And in my experience, what I've found is that you want to search by ending soonest, right? A lot of people, they always talk about, price lowest first. But the problem is this is a bidding website. So you want to find stuff that's about to end so that you can pop in. So right there's a violin, 1 cent shipping, $30. No bids, ends in 15 minutes. Okay. Now, there's a lot of stuff on here, and they will say in there, let's just look at this one. They will say right in the item descriptions that, like, they don't know anything about it. They don't know if it works or not. This clearly, right, only has one string. This looks all messed up. So it's not like these are necessarily going to be high quality instruments. But, if you kind of know what you're doing, or if you kind of know what you want, they might be worth taking a risk on. All right, so this is unbranded. And here we go. 3 strings are missing. Item has scratches.
Hey.
That's my phone. I'm sorry. This is a used item. It's not been cleaned, serviced, or tested. Right? So, like, they're very upfront about that. So the rule that I always kept for myself was don't spend anything more than what you'd be willing to spend if the thing is just a decoration. Right? So assume it won't be functional. Assume that the most you're going to get out of it is setting it up as a decoration. What's the maximum you're willing to spend to get that? So for some people, $30 for a violin. Obviously, this one I wouldn't even bother with because it doesn't even have the strings. Right? But let's look at this one here. Okay? This one's $54. Got 40 minutes left, but we got 5 bids, which means it's probably going to keep going up. But it says it's a Stradivarius. It's a Stradivarius model, right? So some people might see that and they're like, oh my gosh, it's a Stradivarius? That's just the model type. That's not, it's not a real Stradivarius. But this one looks like it's got 4 strings. It's got the The bridge, that's one thing you want to keep an eye out for, is missing parts, because a lot of times the people working at Goodwill don't know what parts are supposed to be there. So we've got all 4 pegs, we got all 4 strings, we got the bridge, we've got the fine tuners. Nothing severely broken. Doesn't have a case. That's not great, but you know, it's a Goodwill instrument. I didn't see a case. Oh, it says it has a case. It's not showing me the case though. Anything useful in here? Minimal wear. He doesn't know anything about the sound post. Not tested, right? Okay, so this right here, I would have to check these. I don't know offhand the size of a full size violin versus a quarter size, or you know, an 8 size or half size or whatever. What I do know is that the violin that I currently own is not a full size violin, because I apparently did not pay enough attention when I bought that one. So a violin is something that in the future I would like to own a full size one of, but that's not what I'm going for here today. But you know, that's the process. You go through, you find something that's ending soon, you go through, you see what are the problems with it, and with all of that in mind, would you be willing to spend that money, assuming that there's a decent chance that it's not going to work, right? So I haven't ever spent this much money on a gamble like that. Usually my cap is about $35, and I've gotten my violin for that. I've gotten multiple clarinets and a flute. I've gotten some percussion. I've gotten 2 trombones, all for $35 or less. So I would pass on this, especially because violins are very common on here. There's violins on here all the time. So if you are, if you have the time to be on here a lot, you know, I don't know what's wrong with this one, but this one's only $10, and it's only a couple minutes after that, only one bid. Right? So like, if you can take the time to stay on here and follow what's happening, you can get a good deal. The problem with this form of using the website is that if you're looking for a specific thing, you've got less of a shot of getting it. Violins, as I said, are very common on here, very popular. Let's try something like a saxophone. Saxophone is an instrument that I do not own, and it's because even on websites like this, they still have a price tag. You know, that's cheap for a saxophone, but again, with what I've said of, I assume it's not going to work, I would not pay this money for something that I don't know is going to work, right? So when I used to come on here and search for saxophones, something like this might pop up, right? And I'd be like, maybe I could go for that. And I might check it out, and I might decide that it's good enough for that, but this still has hours left, and so it's just going to go up. So while I have searched for individual things in the past, that's not how I use it anymore. And by the way, I mentioned misspellings previously. Keep in mind that most of these people don't really know what they're talking about. So I would always try and search for misspelled versions of things, because you might get different results. So this one, was this in the other version? An hour and 48 minutes left. It's got a little tuner there. If we go back to the correct spelling, hour and 40. Yeah, see, it's not there. So sometimes you can find even better deals if you search for the misspelled thing, because the people that know what they're talking about might not think to do that. So like accordion, I don't know if it's an A or an O. O feels right. Well, A feels wrong, I should say. O doesn't feel right, but A feels wrong. But so if we search accordion, this is what we get. Man, that's not a terrible price. 27 minutes left. No! Stay strong! I've got this one, but mine is broken. So I need a new one. But let's just see what happens if we spell it wrong. Look at that. $11. But 3 days left. All right. See, so that's scary. One bid. So somebody else has found this. This is so cute. It's like not a full size, but bigger than my little baby one. Straps are cracked. All right. Let's move on. So, as I said, this is not the way that I have used it most recently. The way that I use it most recently is just to go to all musical instruments, sort by ending soonest, and just see what's coming up. Now, this is obviously not correct, right? Ending soonest is not going to be 3 days from now. What are you even talking about? What's going on? I am confused. Oh, these just must be... Oh, the stars mean they're promoted. So you got to ignore those. So this one, a minute left. Clarinet for $300. No, that's not interesting. Trumpet, no. So I might go in and I might put on... Can I... Filter by the price. I know there's a way for me to do this. There we go. So I might say max price of... I would probably go 50. But just to make it a more interesting video, let's go 100. Max price of $100. All musical instruments, ending soonest. What do we got? These are the promoted ones. Ignore those. Practice pad for $10. You get a practice pad. You get a stand that may or may not be broken. But if you are in the market for a practice pad, those cost more than $10. So that's not a bad deal. Here's a clarinet for $14 that ends in 30 seconds. Right? Doesn't look like it has a case. Very likely might be broken, but for $14, I've got like 2 other partial clarinets. I might be able to Frankenstein something together. That wouldn't be a bad buy for me and my personal situation. Zildjian splash cymbal. Zildjian is a pretty good brand. That's not a particularly impressive cymbal. But hey, if you are a beginner drummer and you want to be able to say that you have a Zildjian, plus you get a stand and a boom attachment, like this part right here, not even the stand, this boom attachment piece, that costs $40 new. And this stand would cost $40 new. And that cymbal would probably cost more than $50 new. So that's not a bad deal at all. So like you gotta just go see what's there. Trumpet for $21. Looks like it's not quite all there, not quite all together. But you know what? If you just need another mouthpiece or you just need a case, right? That's a good price for a mouthpiece or a case. If you are, a junior high or high school student that just wants to have an extra mouthpiece or your case broke and you need a new case, $9 for an amp. Not a big amp, but if you want to be able to practice and hear stuff without annoying your entire household, $9 is a good price for an amp, right? So like this is how I use it. As I just go through and I see, so here's a bass guitar. Now I don't have a straight electric bass guitar. I've got an acoustic electric bass and I've got an acoustic electric ukulele bass. I don't have a straight electric bass guitar, and I want one. I just want a cheap one, just so that I can have it for that other usage that my acoustic ones aren't great for. Is this fretless? No. Okay, I'm sorry. It's hard to see the frets from this picture. How do I zoom in? No, there's definitely frets there. All right, but this is cheaper than the cheapest bass that I would find on Musician's Friend, for example, right? And Johnson is not a terrible brand, because I don't want something fantastic. I just want an electric bass, so that if there's something where I want a bass line, but it just doesn't feel right on my acoustic or my ukulele bass. If I were ready to buy something, that would be a really good deal for me, I think. There's another $10 trumpet. That one looks like all the pieces are there. Even if something's broken, right? Even if a valve is stuck, even if a slide is stuck, you've got a mouthpiece, you've got a case, you've got some cleaning equipment, right? A lot of these guitars and ukuleles that pop up here, back when I didn't have as many instruments, again, my mindset was worst case scenario, it's a cool decoration, right? $11 is not that huge of an investment. This looks really cool. I don't know how big this is. I don't really want to click on it because I get distracted again. $90 would be a little bit much. Unless it's, well, let's see. Unless it's full size, but I kind of doubt that it's full size because it doesn't have that many strings. 36 inches tall. So this is about the size of the one that I have. So I wouldn't spend $100 on that because that's about what I paid for mine new. But you see what I'm saying? You just see what they have, right? It's kind of like when you shop the clearance section at the store, right? You don't go to the clearance section looking for a particular thing. Unless, someone's told you that, wow, here's a mixer for $30. A powered mixer for $30. That's not a bad deal. This one, it says tested, right? So here, they've told you that it works. Lights power up. That's not a bad deal. So yeah, you don't go through the clearance section looking for something specific. You go in there, you see what's there, and if you find a good deal, you grab it. Here's another bass, $60. I don't know that brand, so I would be less excited about it. But looks like we've got a case, we've got a strap, we've got a stand, right? So like again, I don't need that stuff at this point, but if you're the type of person where you're still looking for stands and cases and stuff like that, $60 is not a bad price. And maybe the bass will work, right? And even if not, you can use it for parts for another bass that you find. There's a flute, $8. 6 minutes left. This is cool. That's an interesting looking horn. There's going to be lots of ukuleles on here. This is ignore this brand. You don't want to deal with those. So that's all just within the first page, ending in the next 15 minutes. I don't want this to be a super duper long video, but let's try and go more quickly. Again, ignore these starred posts. Guitar, flute for $14. There's going to be lots of keyboards on here too. Guitars, ukuleles, keyboards are all very common on here. Flutes and clarinets and violins are pretty common. Trumpets are pretty common. So like if you're interested in any of those instruments and you don't really want to invest, maybe you just want to try them out, right? And you don't want to invest in a full one. This website could be very useful. We got a mandolin here. So this is a less common instrument. So that's not expensive for a mandolin. It's higher than a lot of this other stuff, though, because there's fewer mandolins on the site to choose from. So the people that are looking for mandolins are going to be drawn to this, right? I've seen things like banjos go for quite a bit on here because they're just less common. It makes sense. Here's another mandolin. This one has 0 bids. I would be curious to know why. Do I want to take the time to find out why? I'm scrolling past, so I guess not. Here's an accordion, $46, 20 minutes left, but it's got quite a few bids on it, so I would be nervous about securing that bid. Some bongos, right? Maybe you're a drummer and you're just looking for something to add to your drum set, but you don't really care what. $8, no bids, 20 minutes left. And it's like, bongos, they're going to work, right? If you hit them, they're going to make a sound, unless the head is busted. Djembe for $8. Are you kidding me? Is this full size? Because most cheap djembes are small. They're like a foot tall or something. If this thing is actually like 3 feet tall, that's kind of crazy. 6.25 inches. Okay, so yeah, it's a small one. Oh man, I would have for $8. I might have jumped on that if that was a full size djembe. Shipping is gonna be dependent on how big the item is, obviously. Man, I wish I knew how to do MIDI stuff. That looks pretty cool. I just don't know how to do it. Best choice. Yeah, I wouldn't trust that brand. All right, let's look at one more page and see what we got. What is this? Is this some type of a harp? There's quite a few lap harps on here, but I've never actually gotten one. Tremoloa. I've never heard of that. It's a Hawaiian instrument. It looks like a type of lap harp. Oh gosh, what have I done? I hit the wrong button. So we've got a staff drawn on the instrument here, strings here. Yeah, I don't know what this is. So this is like the kind of thing that I'm probably not going to be interested in it for this type of price, but now I'm interested in learning what this instrument is, right? Even if I never play it, I've never heard of this before. So I'm going to look that up and maybe I'll find some cool new music. So like, this is why you don't want to go in searching for specific stuff. An auto harp. Man, gosh, I would love to have an auto harp. Problem is, almost always they've just got a bunch of strings busted, and I've never had one or maintained one before, so I don't know how hard that is to deal with. So, like, if I had a serious goal to get an auto harp, I could look into that. But it's just one of those things that, like, I want. I don't see any majorly busted strings on this. That actually looks surprisingly intact. Scuffs and scratches. Case has wear. Broken handle. Nothing that they specify about the actual instrument, though. I'm tempted, but I can't. I can't do it. I can't do it unless people support me on Patreon. A dulcimer? I don't have any of those. Here's another djembe. That makes more sense as a price. Like, that's still a really good price. Just not good enough for me to lose my mind over it. Here's another a Rogue mandolin. This is the first mandolin that I had, that model. It was definitely a Rogue. That's the only instrument I've ever sold. Was my very first mandolin, because I bought a better mandolin and I had no use for my old mandolin. A lot of the instruments that I have multiples of, it's like even my older ones, they still have a function and a purpose. They're still distinct in some way, right? Like all my guitars, they're all slightly different. But when I bought my new mandolin, my old mandolin had no purpose, and somebody offered to pay me what I paid for it, and they wanted my signature on it. So I autographed it and sold it for what I paid for it because they refused to pay me any less. That's the only instrument I've ever sold. To a former coworker of mine. Here's a trombone, $50. Again, like even just for a case, it's not a fancy case, but if you need a case, that's cheap for a case. I know I said I'd only go 3 pages, but I'm going to do this last one, and then I'm going to stop because I have a problem. Anything exciting here? Here's another mixer, a Behringer, which is a good brand, $8. It's not a powered mixer, but it's a nice little mixer if you're like a singer-songwriter who does little cafe shows or whatever. Got a couple mic inputs. Is this just 2 or no? It's 4. So you could do a mic for you if you got a second singer, or if you mic your guitar, you can do there, or you can plug right into your guitar, or a keyboard, a drum machine, something like that. Like, that is a great price for a mixer. A green violin. I've got a dream. I was going to say a goal, but it's not really a goal. But I've got a dream of having a ukulele in all the colors of the rainbow. and just hanging them up like my boom whackers. But, you know, that's not really high on the priority list. Here we got another auto harp, $16. I don't know what all these things are. Did I keep this other auto harp up? I did, because I'm gonna go back and look at that. All right, what's the deal with this one? What's all this? What's all this stuff? What's all that stuff? I don't know what all that stuff is. Oh, those are the. I don't think they're called keys. Those are the things that you press to play the chords, and they're all separated. Oh, thank you. I don't know how to put those back on. I've never used an auto harp before. Oh, here's a zither. This is basically a lap harp. Looks like it works very similarly. Another neat looking trumpet. Like a bugle is something that if I, ever wanted a bugle, I might try on here. I'm going to another page because I have no self-control. Electronic bass drum with, is that a real bass drum pedal? Because that is a good price for a bass drum pedal. Well, it's not a terrible price for a bass drum pedal, I should say. Ukuleles, amps. I haven't even talked about very many of the amps. Lots of guitars. That's a bass. It's a acoustic electric bass for $18. I mean, even if it doesn't work at all, if you've wanted to try an acoustic electric bass, because the strings are thicker than an electric bass. If you've ever just wanted to try one before investing in a nice one, $18. Look at that. A Meinl cymbal, 20-inch ride cymbal. Not bad. Not bad. Here's another zither lap harp type thing. This one. See, this is another reason why you don't necessarily want to search for a specific thing. Because this is not a bongo drum. This is a djembe. That's classified as a bongo drum. There's another mandolin, an all black one. It's the same model. It's just a different color. Oh, that other one that we saw. Ooh, there's a nice dulcimer. See, like, I have no idea how to play these, but like that would look really cool, just leaning against my wall. I'd pay that for decoration, but there's some competition on that. Again, lots of I haven't even talked about the keyboards just because there's so many cheap keyboards. I just had my final concert as a music teacher a couple days ago, and I used like a little toy keyboard because like even those now it's like it's fine, it's good enough. Jasmine, that's not a terrible brand of guitar. So I think we get the point. This is where I've gotten a lot of my stuff. This is where after I get, because the past couple years and continuing on now, I have had specific things that I've wanted, and I have specific things that I want now. So like I wanted to get a lot of the plastic instruments, the plastic clarinet and the plastic saxophone and the plastic brass instrument. I wanted to get every size of ukulele, which I've done, including a banjo ukulele and a cigar box ukulele. Right now I've got a couple keyboards that I want, and I want to get a parlor guitar, and I want a 12-string guitar, and I want a bowed psaltery, and I want a handpan and a tongue drum. So like I've got stuff that I'm working through, which takes a long time because when you want specific things, it costs more. So I haven't used this website in a few years. But if I ever make my way through, the stuff that I have on my list, or if I'm ever browsing and I see a really good deal, then I will absolutely use this website again. Another thing that's on my list that I think I've only searched for on here. I don't think I've ever looked anywhere else. Just a chord organ. I used to own 2 organs, and I had to get rid of them because I was moving and I didn't have space for them, so I had to donate them. Which I had gotten them both for free, so it's not like I lost money on it. But now I have 0 organs and I have space for them. So even though I've got electronic keyboards and synthesizers and things that can sound like I want to just be able to say that I have an organ, and a chord organ seems like the most Well, I was going to say the most responsible, but the least irresponsible way to do that. So every once in a while, like pop on and check out chord organs. This one looks like it's got a lot of keys, or maybe this one just has not very many keys. But yeah, that's my secret. So if you are interested in trying out different instruments, or if you're looking for accessories but you think $150 is a lot for a trumpet case, or you just want to try something and you can't decide what to do, just go find the best deal. shopgoodwill.com. Not sponsored. Hashtag not sponsored. It's just something that I use a lot, and I've never gotten anything that straight up has not worked. I've gotten stuff that's been damaged. I've gotten stuff that hasn't worked perfectly. I've gotten stuff that has later broken to be unusable, but like nothing that I've gotten from there, which is a lot, nothing that I've gotten from there has been completely unusable, but that's because I try to really pay attention to the pictures and look in, and I kind of know what to look for with a lot of stuff. Like I said, with that violin, a lot of them have the bridges missing, or tuning pegs missing, or strings missing, or fine tuning, right? So like, you kind of have to know what you're looking for, unless it's really cheap and you just want to like try something or throw it on the wall and it doesn't matter if all the parts are there. But this has been a very useful resource for me, so I thought I would put that out there to you guys. So with all that said, support me on Patreon. give me some money so I can buy more stuff. I've got zero. Seriously though, I know I kind of sound like a pathetic, entitled millennial, but like, let me know what you guys want for me to earn this. Right? I've got one video up there, 90s song. I got more ready to go. I just don't want to go through the time and the effort until something's happening here. So let me know what you want, and we'll throw it on there. But that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you like the click button, and let me know if you think this would be useful to you. But I'm going to call it there. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Goodbye.